a sucker for a great story. And boy, is this a great story. Zach Staniewicz is a pitcher who will be reporting to the Orioles camp and is there now. A knuckleballer, but boy, not only that, he's a senior airman in the Air Force Reserve in Fort Bragg in Fayetteville, North Carolina. But when you hear his story, you're going to love it. And he joins us now here on MLB Network Radio. Zach, thanks so much for stopping by today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
So real quickly, this is about being noticed by Phil Niekro, who put in a couple of words for you with Dan Duquette. Tell us a little bit about how this really came about with you even running into Phil Niekro.
Well, actually, it started, I played on the United States Military All-Star Baseball team, ran by a guy, Terry Alvaroyd. I played against him in college ball. You know, they played different summer collegiate teams. Right. Anyway, so I played them in college, and then, you know, I joined the Air Force Reserve in the summer of 2011, and, you know, I did 9 weeks boot camp, tech school, and then, you know, I've been playing ball for a good bit, and I kind of looked up the team, and, you know, I sent out, you know, player resume to Terry, and, you know, he said, yeah, I'd love to have you on the team, and so anyway, I had a place to play, and then, you know, I've always thrown the knuckleball. I've always thrown it, you know, always sideline, and, you know, in high school and college, I would throw it 0-2, 1-2, and I have a buddy of mine that throws the knuckleball exclusively in indie ball, and anyway, he always thought I had a good one, and he gave me a call a little over a year ago. He said he was going through Atlanta and was going to meet up with Phil Niekro, and he said, you should come on out here and see what he thinks. So I had like 2 days notice. So I went out there. It was in the middle of winter. I was satisfied playing adult baseball the rest of my life. So I threw one little side session and went down to Atlanta. And, you know, that's the first time I met Phil, and I threw a little bullpen. And, you know, he thought I had a decent knuckleball. He said, you got a good knuckleball, and you should probably keep working on it.
Well, before we get to the baseball stuff, I want to go back to the military stuff. What exactly does an airman first class do?
Well, what I do, I work in the C-130s over at, it's actually Pope Air Force Base. It's the Fort Bragg and Pope are on the same, you know, facility. Fort Bragg is the Army side, Pope's the Air Force side. But, yeah, airman first class, you are, you know, you're at the bottom of the totem pole. You know, you got to sweep up, you got to mop, you know, you got to do what your supervisor says, and, you know, that's, you know, just like any job where you start out, you know, you do the basic stuff first, and you get a little responsibility here and there, and then, you know, you go up the chain of command.
So you work on the C-130, which is the big cargo plane, correct?
That is correct, yep.
Yeah, my cousin, look out for David Beasley. He's one of the pilots that flies that.
Oh, okay.
You might run into him. He's a lieutenant colonel, or he's a full bird colonel. So now we go back to the baseball. Who's catching you in camp right now? Who has gotten the choice detail of catching the knuckleballer in the Orioles camp?
Whoever started it is really, you know, we got, they're doing early camp right now, so there's probably like 6 or 7 catchers out there right now, and, so far I've had a different catcher every time, you know, my first session out there, you know, no one knew about me until I got there, and then, you know, last minute I said, yeah, all I throw is a knuckleball, so, you know, I had a pretty good bullpen, you know, a lot of good movement, and he struggled. But my second session, I threw to a kid that he's caught a couple knuckleballers before, and you know he did a pretty good job. But yeah, they're all random right now. No one in particular.
So I want to get back to Phil Niekro taking an interest in you. Apparently, he calls Dan Duquette of the Orioles. He said, "Hey, you gotta check this guy out." What happened the first time you heard from Dan Duquette? I mean, what are you thinking? How'd that come about?
Well, like I was saying, so I threw with Phil about a year ago. He showed, I mean, you know, he's the best. He's a Hall of Famer. He's got over 300 wins. If he says you got something going on with a knuckleball, you listen to him. So I just said to myself, you know, I was 25 at the time. I said, you know what? I'm going to give this thing everything I got. You know, if I fall on my face, so be it. But, you know, at least I can say I put forth the effort. So I just committed myself 4 or 5 days a week. I was just throwing knuckleballs, and then I got connected with a military team with Terry. I took 2 weeks of leave, and I played on the tour. You know, we went down the East Coast, played different summer collegiate teams, and then I started throwing it in games, and, you know, I had a couple good outings and then 1 or 2 bad outings, but, you know, I showed enough potential that, you know, the coaching staff with the military team felt that it was appropriate enough to get in touch with Dan Duquette. So we had a pregame ceremony at the end of June at Camden Yards. And, you know, there's a wounded warrior, and we did the passing of the flag. And that's where I first met Dan. My head military coach introduced me to him, and, you know, he kind of told Dan about me. And Dan told me, yeah, you know, here's some good things about you. I'd like to sign you and bring you down to spring training.
Have you seen any of the next knuckleballer or talked to a guy like R.A. Dickey at all?
I did see that. It's pretty interesting. You know, it's you know, I've been for the past year just you know, submerging myself in this, and these guys over here are giving like a week, 2 weeks. It's pretty difficult. You know, it's like that. The margin for error is so small. You know, if you throw 90 miles an hour and miss your spot slightly, it's still gonna be tough to hit. But if you know, throw a knuckleball and it's slightly off, it's a 65-mile-an-hour BP fastball. So, yeah, it was pretty interesting. I thought they did a pretty good job for the circumstances. Curious how it's going to, I guess Jason Booty won it. Curious how he's going to do.
Josh Booty.
Or Josh Booty, that's right.
So I'm just curious, you mentioned 65 miles an hour. Is that about your speed? Where are you at in terms of speed on yours?
Well, anywhere from low 70s, 71 to upper 50s. I'll try to mix speeds with it. You know, working with Phil, that's what Phil told me. He says, you know, you're not always going to have your best one, and that's where, you know, mixing speeds is going to get you into the 7th inning. You know, when you're not throwing your best, you change speeds, you're going to be that more effective. So, like I said, anywhere from upper 50s to lower 70s.
Yeah, it's a very, very difficult pitch to catch. I had a little bit of an opportunity in Astros camp to try out Jared Fernandez. And it's a pretty difficult pitch. What's been the hardest thing for you to get as far as throwing it?
I mean, strikes are the hardest part. You know, I'll have balls that move, you know, out of, you know, up to, you know, 1.5 feet, it seems like, and the plate's, 18 inches, so, you know, do the math, you know, you're trying to throw a pitch that moves, you know, sometimes greater than the plate, and you're trying to get over the plate. You know, it's not the easiest task, you know, so, strikes, I mean, that's always a challenge, you know, you watch all these big league knuckleballers, they're always, except, you know, R.A. Dickey, he's an exception, but, you know, history shows these guys always have, difficulty throwing strikes with it. But, you know, there's a lot of good that comes with that still. So.
Zach Staniewicz joining us here on MLB Network Radio. What was your family's reaction when you told them you're going to Orioles camp in Major League Baseball? Well, it's a minor league contract, but you're going to Orioles camp. What was their reaction?
Oh, they're so excited. You know, ever since you start playing ball, you're 5 years old. That's your dream, you know, to sign a professional contract. So, you know, I played indie ball, independent ball, you know, both as a conventional guy, pitcher, and an outfielder, and, you know, I was trying to get in through that way, and, you know, traveling, driving all over the place. It's such a relief, you know, to finally, you know, get that contract, and, you know, it's here, you know, and, you know, I'm 26 now. It's usually at this age, usually behind the ball game, you know, but luckily, you know, history shows with a knuckleball you can pitch till your late 40s. So it's almost like I'm 20 again, you know?
Have you gotten into a game yet?
Down here, no. I don't think that's going to start happening probably for another week or so. But just bullpens. I think I got about 4 bullpens in right now, and I'm throwing a ball. I probably had one bad bullpen, but the rest of them I felt were effective. The ball was moving, all over the place, and I was in the zone. So, can't ask for any more.
Anybody on that Orioles team you're looking forward to meeting?
Oh, at the big league? In the big league?
Yeah.
No one in particular, I feel, I'm at the same level as them, Sure, it'd be nice to meet, I don't know, I bet Cal's kicking around there. It'd be pretty neat to meet him. I'm sure he loves coming down here, so that would be pretty neat to meet him. But, I haven't really thought about that, to be honest with you. Just focusing on my craft right now,
Yep.
Well, you can challenge my uncle, Rick Dempsey, when you get a chance to go up there. You challenge him. You tell him, Zonnie said there's no chance his old backside can catch that knuckleball, and if he wants a piece, to go ahead and strap it on.
All right, I'll let him know.
Make sure you tell him that when you get down there.
Zach Staniewicz, thanks so much for joining us, buddy. We appreciate it. Good luck. We'll keep an eye on you this spring.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Great talking with you guys.
You bet.
Good luck to you.
There he is. Got to love that. Zach Staniewicz, senior airman down there at Fort Bragg. This is going to be a great story. I hope he does well.
Yeah, me too. That would be a great story. I mean, it's so easy to watch the stories that happen where you got this super phenom prospect come out of college or high school and they're skyrocketing to superstardom, and this guy's in the military. He's 26 years old. Yeah. It's great. I mean, this guy's probably not living a super luxurious life, and wouldn't it be great if he was able to be the next actual knuckleballer in the big leagues? I mean, Josh Booty's already been to the show. He was a teammate of mine in Florida. Right. And, he's already had his taste of superstardom on a baseball field and football field, so it would be fun to see somebody new get a chance.